Hello viewers, you are watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliu Sise, and it's now time for your weekly State of Affairs program. Well, our National Assembly, last Saturday, ratified a memorandum of understanding on circular migration between the Kingdom of Spain and the Gambia during an extraordinary session convened by the Parliament to discuss this important matter. And joining me this week to discuss, this agreement I have on the program, Babakar Ojo, who is the Gambia's Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. Honorable, thank you so much for joining me on the State of Affairs program.
Thank you, Aliu, for having me. I appreciate the support that we're getting from QTV to help give us a platform so we can share with the population what things we are embarking on as a ministry. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
To start with, what are the primary benefits of this MOU for both countries and, of course, migrant workers?
Thank you so very much. The context is that we have very good bilateral relations with the Kingdom of Spain, and that Spain as a country existing in Europe, we are all aware that demographics globally are shifting towards Africa being the continent with the label that the rest of the world will probably be depending on in the next century. But it seems that we have started engaging the two countries, the two governments, with a view to helping provide much needed labor in the kingdom, but also providing Gambians a pathway, a legal pathway for them to migrate, but migrate legally. We know as a ministry responsible for labor management, we are concerned about the challenges youth in this country have faced that led to some of them taking undue risk. In the process, we've lost some lives that we are not in a position to replace. Those irreplaceable lives could have been with us today if they had this opportunity a couple of years ago to migrate to Spain, which is one of our most favorite destinations for migration, particularly for the youth. But unfortunately, this is coming too late for some of them. And you're talking about the objectives. One is to create this legal pathway for Gambians to migrate. Secondly, you know very well, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, launched the National Employment Policy and Action Plan. And following that, which is having the target of 150,000 opportunities for employment, we as a ministry devised some strategies, and one of them was to use this as an occasion, an opportunity to give our Gambian countrymen the opportunity to travel and move to a country of their choice, have the opportunity to work and not depend on the authorities in the destination country, but also be able to repatriate their earnings to this country to support the current very strong, if you like, foundation, which has been laid by our Gambians in the diaspora. We all know the strength of their remittances over the years, and all this is going to support that, because those remittances also play a key part in, if you like, supporting the Gambia's economy. So this is a very important one. The objectives are far-reaching, but these are the main reasons we want to create employment beyond our shores, but also support economic development through remittances back home. Because in all these agreements, the Spanish one particularly that you witnessed on Saturday, gives them the opportunity to be able to repatriate funds. It gives them the opportunity to eventually secure Spanish permanent residency, which is a very, very important one. Within a 4-year period, the agreement includes the opportunity for those who will abide by, who will comply by the provisions of the agreement, may have the opportunity to eventually settle in Spain, because they will be given permanent residency.
And when you talk about circular migration, elaborate more.
We are talking about migration that allows you to go back and forth legally, because like we are giving them, they are giving us a 4-year permit, for example, which allows you within the 4 years to go back and forth in the sense that it's seasonal jobs that they are going for. For example, the Spanish one is based on agriculture. It's based on seasonal jobs. So when you go in for 6 months and the season you went in to participate for ends, you are given a ticket to return to your country. You come back, you stay and wait for the next demand by the farmers and the authorities of Spain. Then you are prepared again to go back. So it's a continuous process of going into Spain and coming back within the 4 years. As long as we maintain the rules and regulations, these are people who can go and come back.
I have a copy of the memorandum here, and it says in one of the paragraphs that the memorandum of understanding shall apply for an initial period of 1 year from the date it is signed. I mean, when will this agreement come into effect?
The agreement was signed in August.
Yes, 28th of August.
28th of August. So ratification is our local requirement now. Since the signing on the 28th of August, from the Spanish perspective, Gambia has bought into the idea. But we have a local process that we have to exhaust. Parliament must ratify it. This is our local laws now. After the ratification, the ratified instrument will now be sent to His Excellency the President through the Ministry of Justice. The President will sign the ratification instruments. The instruments comes back to us now for formal implementation to commence. So as I speak to you, the instrument is supposed to be on its way to Mankamangkunda. And I hope the President gets it and signs it, at the earliest opportunity. And hopefully, before the end of this month, we'll be in operation mode.
Who actually initiated this whole agreement? Was it the government that said, Spain, you know what, we want to have this agreement at least to be able to curb irregular migration, or it was Spain that said, oh, Gambia, we believe, you have what it takes to give us people who can travel to Spain and work here?
Like I said, we developed strategies to interpret the employment policy. Okay. And one of the strategies was to engage countries that are currently requiring labor to support their economic development as well. And this is ongoing. We have a foreign office. We have an embassy in Spain because, Madrid, yes, Spain has a number of Gambians, resident. As a result, the usual diplomatic channels we are engaged. We will communicate to Spain through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And Spain is not the only country in Europe that is currently engaging with us. And we are hoping that, before the end of the year, we might be talking about another bilateral labor agreement with another European country, because it's about labor migrating, and in this manner you are giving the Gambians the opportunity not only to go away, but to go away, get paid, but return home and start investing that capital into Gambia's economy.
So we can say this is part of the government's policy to make that 150,000 job opportunity.
Yeah, this is one of the strategies that we are using to interpret that 150,000 by giving Gambians an opportunity to walk outside on the basis of an agreement that the government enters into. And you see, the government agreeing these bilateral labor agreements gives the beneficiaries an opportunity to be protected. And that's very important. To be protected means we as a country, as a government, will ensure that international law applies around ethical employment, around dignity at work, around, fair and free, labor, exchange. Because some people get lured into working in conditions that are not favorable, but because of their circumstances, they accept those conditions. Now we pre-agree conditions with countries, and those who are traveling from the Gambia to participate in these agreements find themselves in an environment that has been negotiated between two governments, and that is where the protection is guaranteed and assured.
You talk about the issue of international law. Under the memorandum, it says, I mean, the MOU shall not be legally binding, nor shall it give rise to obligations under international law. Could you elaborate more on that?
Yes, you know, even in the defense at the National Assembly, we had to look at this paragraph from a very critical point. Now, the negotiations, the negotiators saw this paragraph, but what we agreed as a country is that Spain is not a country outside Europe. And we know we sit in the ILO in Geneva, we sit with EU, that is Europe, which represents all the countries in Europe. So all the agreements at the ILO have been ratified by Europe in their parliament. As a result, we are convinced that Spain is one of those European countries. So how we interpret this, the lawyers will tell you, but the interpretation we have is that this does not exonerate any country from the ILO conventions that we have all ratified. So those conventions are about, you know, fairness at work. It's about, if you like, integrity at work. It's about respecting the dignity of the worker. It's about respecting the freedom of the person, giving them their human rights, ensuring that they are not abused. Where that happens, you can resort to some court of law for redress. So all this are being covered in our, you know, in our interpretation in the laws that Spain, through the EU, has agreed in the ILO. So we are not quite worried about that.
How long did it take the Gambia government and Spain to reach to this point?
I may not be in a position to give you the real time it took, but I got the tip that we were approaching an agreement with Spain about 3 months ago. That when I was presenting the Saudi Arabia agreement, I even mentioned that Spain is in view. Yeah. And within the 3 months, we actually have seen that the Prime Minister of Spain, or in their language, the President of Spain, actually, or the King, visited the Prime Minister, and actually the agreement was signed.
How will the workers be selected for this migration program?
Now, the Spanish one is a special one, in that they really want the government of Spain and the government of the Gambia to be involved in the process of identifying those who are going. Because, mark you, it goes with an incentive for the participants that is eventually a period of 4 years, which is very short, to be very, very, very fair and honest with them. 4 years is relatively short to determine that an individual is quite okay to be given permanent residency. But because of the relationship between the two governments, they can trust us and say, in 4 years, we are giving you this incentive. So for us, this is actually good enough. It's enough to give us the conviction that we need to jump on and take this opportunity.
And in terms of the selection process, I know...
No, in fact, I just missed that. Yeah. The selection process, we are going to start with the agencies. Okay. We have registered 8 as I speak to you. Okay. As of Saturday, we had 4. Okay. Today, I signed 4 other licenses. So we have 8 licensed agencies to do the recruitment of this labor. Now, they will do the selection. And let me take this opportunity to say to Gambians, we will be out in QTV and other media houses to give you a rundown of the procedure and the process. What is important, and we want to say in every conversation, Aliu, is that this is free of charge for the participants. Okay. Nobody should pay anything. I'm sure you will want to pick that up.
Exactly.
Yes, you will pick it up. Yeah. So that's it. When the recruiting agencies do the work, the Spanish government is going to provide the resources to pay for the process from advertising to interviewing to selecting to the documentation. All that will be provided for under the agreement by the Spanish government through the government of the Gambia. And through the government of the Gambia Ministry of Trade, what the Directorate of Labor is going to be the main hub for this activity under their Department of Labor Management. So this is the way it's going to happen. Now, there are structures that we have already set in place. There is already a technical committee between the government of the Gambia and the government of Spain, or the Kingdom of Spain. That technical committee will be the final vetting agency to look at what has been actually scrutinized and recruited by the agencies. It comes to us, we do that scrutiny, the final scrutiny, together with the Kingdom staff at the embassy and our embassy in Spain. Then we come to an agreement as to the final list that will be evacuated to take part in this.
And I understand also on the MOU, I saw a representative of the recruiting company also will be present for the interview.
Yes.
So it's not just about two governments, but even the recruiting company also will have their rep.
No, it's important that those who are going to take them to Spain, those who are going to employ them, those employers need to participate in the process of finalizing who goes, because it's beyond identifying people only. You are looking at healthy people. We want to send people who are going to meet the requirements to be declared healthy enough to go and participate. We're also going to do criminal investigations about them. That is this certificate of character. Each one of them would have to provide that. But again, you are looking at demeanor, you're looking at comportment, you're looking at, you know, the physique and all these things. So yeah, having them participate will also give credibility to our selection process and will ensure that they are also getting what they want. Remember the employers in Spain, because this is an agricultural engagement at the moment, are usually farmers. They're doing apples, they are doing grapes, they're doing probably oranges, they're doing other things like tomatoes. So they will be participating to be able to sort of gauge the participants and determine that definitely these ones will be able to not carry heavy loads. And this is very important. We have been discussing with their agents on the ground, and what we are being told is there is no heavy lifting in this. When we talk about healthy people, we are not talking about, you know, physically strong. They just need to be healthy to be able to live in the environment, be able to participate in this, and not be a liability on the process itself because they are going out with a disease or so. We know it's not anybody's fault to be ill or sick, but we don't want to send people who would also not be able to perform the function.
And out of all this, I would like to know, I mean, what will be the responsibility of the guy who is being sent to Spain? Do you have any bond agreement or what?
Yes, because there is a very important caveat in this, Said Nalio. We are anticipating that people may attempt to lure these people into absconding. And because this is a practice that we have seen commonly in virtually every large group of people that travel for a function, you find those with this ulterior motive that when I go, I'm not coming back.
Even in government, we have seen people go on missions and they never come back.
So yeah, we will have our safety valves because that will blow this opportunity up.
Yeah.
If people go out there and they are attempting to abscond or they succeed in absconding, it means we are unable to account for 1 or 2 people. That is a dent in the confidence of the people taking our people to Spain. And it is clearly stated in the agreement that they should return once their assignment is over. Failure to return would have consequences, and one of them would be Gambia could be eliminated from this. Remember, there is competition for this. When I got the information that countries that are considered developed in Africa, like Morocco, are enjoying this privilege with Spain, I said, my friend, this is one thing that Gambia must jump onto and make best use of. So yes, Sayyidina Ali, we will have our provisions. We will look. I spent 25 years, 26 years giving out loans and recovering them, so I know very much a lot about how to guarantee assets. So really, we will.
In fact, according to the MOU, it states here that in order to verify whether the workers have indeed returned to their country of origin, the signatories shall draw the workers' attention to the fact that they must visit the consular office.
Yeah.
That issued their visa within 1 month from the expiry of their permit to work in Spain.
That is a part of the checks and balances, that they will have to report to the office of the ambassador of Spain or consular to confirm.
That's 1 month after they return.
Yes, to confirm that they are back in the Gambia. Failure to do that will put this entire arrangement in jeopardy.
What are the advantages? Why do you think people should come back after 1 year, for instance?
I mentioned the incentive, the 4-year incentive. We know people who have been in Europe and the diaspora and America for a decade or decades. And to date, they do not have papers to return or papers to even legally stay in the country, in their host countries. Well, this is giving you, and that's why I emphasized in the beginning that 4 years is relatively a short period for anybody to enjoy that privilege of being permanently allowed to stay in another country. So 4 years is, for me, incentive number one. Number two, you're going to work. You're going to be paid. You're going to be remitting your resources back to the Gambia. Remember, we have other strategies in the ministry. And one of them is supporting Gambian-made products. We are encouraging these Gambians to go there and generate capital. You know, of course, the 3 things about production. You need the land, you need the capital, you need the labor. Now, if you go out there, what we expect is over the period of 6 months, 9 months that they're going to be there, they will learn something about production, particularly agriculture. And because this country is moving towards production, we have the desire to produce our food. We are hoping that they will learn and garner some skills so that when they come home, some of them will be thinking, let me invest the capital I have generated over these 9 months into a farm, into a garden, into a poultry, into an animal husbandry project, so that at home we also improve on our production. So for me, this is self-employment in the making, so that eventually some of them...
So it's not just a brain drain, as some will say.
No.
I heard someone say, okay, on the other hand, this is
a brain drain. Yes. You see, the good thing about this, and that's why I said in my response to that question, is that notwithstanding, people are still going. We are still losing our talent. We are still losing our skills to other economies, albeit in an illegal manner and a risky manner. So this one gives us the opportunity to do it legally, comfortably, conveniently, garner skills, and come back. So you have 2 options at the end of the 4 years. To either use your capital and generate an opportunity for yourself here to be self-employed and employ other people, or you go back to Spain and continue working in these fields as a permanently resident Gambian in Spain with all the rights of a resident of Spain.
With a good character
with a good behavior, with respect, with dignity. You walk in the streets, you are not hiding from anybody. You are dignified. Anytime you want to come home, you buy your ticket. It's a direct flight from Barcelona to Banjul. You fly and come back and see your family. So this is a great opportunity.
So what are the requirements, for someone who want to enjoy this program?
I mentioned them in passing. That
does it only apply to Gambians or
this is only for Gambians exclusively. Anybody living through this project must be a Gambian. Anybody living must be able to provide a passport. Everybody living must be able to get clearance from the police that you are not a criminal. Everybody going must come with a certificate from the doctors to show that you are physically fit and fit enough to be able to embark on this journey. But once these documents are secured, we expect them to move to one of those 8 agencies, register with them. The registration is not specifically for Spain. It is registration to provide labor through this agency. Then the agency will work with the ministry through the Directorate of Labor, who will now identify if we are asked to bring 2,000 people, 3,000 people, we work on that figure, do our shortlisting, invite Spain, we sit down, we do the vetting, and they are on board a flight to Spain the following day.
Who buys the air tickets? Is it the government or the one?
The government of Spain will be providing all this. I think I said at some point that all the costs related to this is being borne by the Spanish government.
Earlier on, you mentioned the issue of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
I would like to know what happened to that agreement.
No, that one is in fact ahead of Spain.
Okay.
The instrument I received today, the signed instruments by His Excellency the President, we will be taking those agreements to Saudi Arabia. We have been engaging prior to this because we knew that this was coming, it was going to happen. The agencies have started recruiting, they have started receiving applications, they are preparing their people. The Saudi authorities have visited twice. We are also going to visit Saudi again after the first one we had in November last year. So at the moment we are ready, recruitment is in progress. What is outstanding is for the Saudi authorities to give us specifically how many unskilled laborers we want. We know already that at the moment, gender-wise, we are only recruiting girls for Saudi at the moment because they are going in as domestic workers. And this is very important to mention here, that these domestic workers this time going are protected, unlike the ones that the government did not take to Saudi Arabia. We have safety valves, one of which is that there is this monitoring going on, and none of those girls going would be asked to part with their mobile phones. Their passports will remain with them. The embassy in Saudi will continue to monitor them. We will monitor them through the technical committee from here, and anytime we lose any one of them, we know where they are because we will be the ones taking them there, and we know who is taking them to their house, who is taking them to their garden, who is making them work in a mosque. We will be monitoring them on a daily basis to know what conditions. They also have the opportunity to report to us through our WhatsApp groups. Whatever they are encountering that was not agreed, prior to their departure, because there's going to be this pre-departure training, which is also very important, Aliu. We know Saudi has a different regime. Religion-wise, we are also different. And let me say... If you steal, they cut your hand. Of course. And that's very important that our Gambians going are orientated enough to understand that you don't steal in Saudi. You go to Saudi, during prayers, people just bang their doors and they go away. They don't lock their doors. So you don't go in there and capitalize on that opportunity and pick anything. You will come back with one arm. So this orientation will be done. In terms of negotiating, these contracts, who will do the negotiation? Is it the one who is going, or is the government that will do the negotiation on behalf of the... Both of us will be involved. Okay. The technical committee will be involved in negotiating the conditions. But the terms of employment will now be revealed to the person participating prior to departure. Okay. They will have access to their contracts. In fact, we already have received an employment contract from Saudi. That's why I said Saudi is already on the way. Implementation is on the way. And now that the instruments have been signed, we just need the numbers. How many of them will go into unskilled labor, domestic work? How many of them they would require in terms of skilled labor? And we will come back and do the advertisement. How prepared are you to deal with this, what will be an overwhelming figure, knowing that, a huge number of Gambians are unemployed at the moment? And then it's free of charge. You are not asked to pay for anything. Yeah. I'm sure even Mohamed Fai or Bakshen of QTV might even apply. Yeah. We are expecting that we'll be inundated with applications. Okay. And that's why the registration of these 8 agencies gives me a lot of comfort now that you can do the initial screening. Recruitment is a process. So the initial screening is done by the agencies, and those agencies also get paid because they'll also be paid for doing the recruitment. That's why I'm announcing and I'm making this very clear, abundantly clear. Nobody pays to an agent for going to any of these countries under the agreement. You can pay to register. Like they can ask you to pay $5 for your registration form. That is different. For you to be a member or a recognized laborer, provider of labor. Let me put it that way. If you call people laborers in this country, they may be a little bit unhappy. But I mean, that's what it means. It's somebody who provides labor. Whether this is unskilled or skilled. But anyway, let's put it the other way around and call it those who are providing labor can be registered and recognized by the agency. But in terms of preparing you to go to Saudi, to prepare you for United Arab Emirates, prepare you for Spain, you are not required to pay the $250,000 that you used to pay, the $50,000. It's not necessary. You are not supposed to pay anything because your host country is going to provide the money for the agencies to survive.
Who was responsible for identifying these agencies and how independent are they?
The Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Labor, is responsible for identifying them. The Labor Act of 2023, which was signed by His Excellency in 2023, provides that the Commissioner of Labor will be responsible for licensing agencies for recruitment. We anticipated this, and that the minister is the final signatory on the license. So I signed the licenses, but the process is actually supervised by the Commissioner of Labor. That makes that ministry, that department is a very important one, but their significance has even taken a new dimension now. With this monitoring of this labor outside the country, their capacity needs to be enhanced and reinforced in terms of numbers, in terms of knowledge, in terms of HR management, but in terms of relations with other countries, the diplomatic aspect. So we will be working with them. They did the initial scrutiny and with the technical committee, and of course the involvement of these agents from Saudi, and now Spain is going to join, UAE is going to join. We all work together to identify those who have the competencies to do the recruitment.
And you talk about these agencies. I don't know whether you are in a position to tell us who these agencies are. If not, yes. Are you comfortable leaving exclusively everything to the agencies to do this recruitment? I mean, we live in a country or in a continent where certainly people can do anything just to make sure they get this job. People can even offer money to some of these agencies.
Yes, we did a proper, GAM Jobs has been around.
Yeah.
We have today I saw Help Them. I do not have them on top of my head, but I can recommend that the next member of the ministry coming here comes with the full list. We'll publish the list on the newspapers. In fact, we did a press release about a month ago, and we mentioned the existing 4 so that people know where to go. We gave their details, their phone numbers. As to whether we have confidence that they will be true to their word on this. Yes, we have confidence that the people, the ones we are dealing with, have been orientated adequately. Even today, they had a meeting in the ministry. We are meeting them regularly. We are telling them the terms. We are giving them the conditions so that they also understand their requirements and abide by them. We have confidence that if there is going to be any attempt to abuse this system, it will be those that we have not licensed. And we are saying to people, look out for the ones we have licensed. They are the ones that understand the conditions of this agreement. They are the ones that we are in a position to monitor and guide. So if you deal with somebody outside the 8 we have, I can guarantee you that if you check on Ministry of Trade website this evening, the list will be published. As soon as I'm done with this, I will ensure that it is published on the website for people to know the 8 agencies that they can go to and their contact details.
And under what condition can this agreement be terminated?
Once the host country feels that they do not any longer need labor from the Gambia, they will give us notice, and we will also stop the recruitment for that particular market. When Gambia government feels that the host country has also reneged, on the agreement we made with them, We engage them and we are unable to shift their position in terms of abusing or flouting the agreement, the government of the Gambia will invoke their right under the agreements to terminate the agreement.
And how long will it take?
It's just a notice of 1 month to say we are quitting this, and that would be it.
Quite interesting, but equally, I mean, what measures, I mean, are you taking, I mean, to help these migrant workers integrate of course, in Spain?
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, you see, the pre-departure training is very important, where we bring in experienced Gambians who lived in Spain. The facilitators are not only going to be those who will come and say, these are the do's and the don'ts. We're bringing experienced people who've lived in that society to speak to them about living in Spain real time. What does it take? Where are you going to be? And we're going to be very transparent with them. Today I was looking at their accommodation. These people are going to live where they're going to work. Wow. All these things have been prepared because before us, I mentioned Morocco, South America were the main source for Spain particularly, because they speak the same language. Well, now we are going in there. This is not anything new in Spain. It's new to us, but it's not new to them. As a result, they have the infrastructure to provide them accommodation, to provide them very, very, very convenient accommodation. We will be going there to inspect those accommodations, and all this will happen. We'll discuss this, we'll communicate to them to ensure that they understand, manage their expectations. Because if you take me from Jongon and say you are going to Spain to work on a farm, I was going to farms in Jongon for the past 50 years. But I don't know a farm where you'll have your house, where you'll have a vehicle, where you probably have a first aid box, where you have your kitchen. I don't know a farm in Jongon that is like that. So we'll prepare them to manage the expectations, but we will give them factual information so that when they get there, they are not disappointed.
Honorable, how will you convince us that this program won't be politicized?
You see, it's about integrity.
Okay.
When you say politicized, it's the context. Remember, this is a political agreement. Because it's a political agreement, I'm a political employee myself. So what I'm doing here, what I'm talking about here is itself politicized. I'm trying to use politics to entice my own people to go to work and get benefits. So if you were referring to politicians hijacking it for different purposes, the agreement has already defended itself against interference. If you go through it, it tells you that we are looking at a free and a transparent mode of selection. In as much as we can, we will avoid interference that is going to make it look like a political gimmick. This is politicized. It is a political approach that brought it about. It's a political decision that brought it. I had to speak politically yesterday to convince my colleagues, but I can tell you that this is targeting Gambians.
And was there any consultation, perhaps with migrant, like the civil society or even the trade unionists?
The trade unions, no, not in terms of engaging the trade unions, but the trade unions are part of the technical committee I mentioned. Okay. And that's where the consultation is taking place. We have, I think, 2 trade unions are represented on the committee. We have the Immigration Department. We have NATIB on the committee. Yeah. We have the Ministry of Justice. We have the Directorate of Labor. We have the Ministry of Trade, and which is the Ministry of Labor. So we have a very broad-based committee that is actually dealing with everyone. And in fact, recently, when I presented this to Cabinet recommended, if my people are listening, this is one instruction I'm passing to you indirectly. Cabinet has recommended that we include the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Gender, because these are very important and critical ministries when it comes to employment. Youth, when you talk about youth employment. Gender, we are currently saying Saudi Arabia, the recruitment is specifically, gender-based. We are going with women for now. But I can also say that one of the agencies is headed by a lady, and when we publish, you are going to see that. You should be able to associate with a lady when it comes to recruitment on this basis. But
so
all of them will be...
What's your target, your initial target for this Saudi?
We'll need to determine that. It depends on the gaps in the Saudi labor market.
Okay.
You know, when we met them last year, I signed this agreement whilst I was Minister of Trade. When we met them, they emphasized their desire to have Gambians in Saudi Arabia, because at the time, only 200 Gambians were legally working in Saudi. There are others, but they may be hiding and seeking with them because they are not there legally. Now, they explained their desire to reconstruct Saudi Arabia. So the construction industry in Saudi Arabia, those who visited there recently can attest to this, is booming. They are bringing, structures down and raising taller ones. They are building railways. They are building new roads. They are building new cities. Start a city from scratch and build it. So this requires a lot of workers. Yeah, and that is why at the moment we don't have a figure. It depends on how many spaces they have for any category, any level, any skills, and then they'll give us the figures for the agencies to work on getting those numbers to be evacuated.
And the UAE one?
UAE is similar to Saudi. We're waiting for the instrument to also return. It's already taken for signature, but it's similar circumstances. They're also looking for 2 levels, unskilled labor and skilled labor. And yes, we are looking forward to having big numbers just like Saudi.
And are you hopeful that government will be able to reach its target of, providing 150,000 jobs? I mean, that's a quite huge number.
I am more than confident. Okay. Like I said in the assembly on Saturday, this is, and some people have misconstrued this as government's strategy. This is not this strategy. This is one of our strategies. Locally, and we'll be coming to you for this. I'll look forward to State of the Nation on Gambia's first special economic zone. Yeah. The Ministry of Trade has worked on something. I don't want to distract you or digress so long, but I'm just telling you that that project we have currently completed the studies of.
Around the Senegambia.
Around the Senegambia corridor. That is Senegambia Bridge. And it's about trade infrastructure enhancement, but it's also about factories. It's about industrialization. It's about bringing industries to Jara, Soma, to Farafenye, but also extending this right up to Bakadaji in the URR and coming right down up to Biam and on the North Bank as well. This project is also fully implemented. It's going to provide 97,000 jobs. That project alone. There's another one I will not mention the name of unless the president does. This one, I'm talking about the 150,000. The president launched the policy. He has made pronouncements in meetings, so I can discuss that. We have another one that is going to take everybody on board unless you are unwilling. Nobody will be left in this country who is not given an opportunity. And remember, the policy does not say it will force people to work. We'll create the opportunities. But remember, even if you have that, some people will choose not to go to work. You cannot do anything about that. But to provide opportunities for 150,000 jobs by 2026, I am confident we have nailed it.
Have you experienced any challenges?
Yes, we have. And in fact, this one we are talking about is very, very important to mention too. When we took over, when we did the policy, we realized early on that we had a challenge to do a proper monitoring of employment as it is created. Remember, the jobs may exist, but the jobs may not translate to employment because nobody has taken the job and therefore no one is earning a salary. Why this is important, Sayyidina Aliu, we had to develop some software that will culminate into a dashboard that will provide us information on employment and data that you can monitor on real time. The Gambia has never had that. We want that to be in place by 2026. So when we tell you that we have created 150,000 jobs between this period, you should be able to knock on your screen and find the data available per sector and cumulatively on the final dashboard. That project is also progressing. Even today I had an update, and I cannot tell you my excitement about the progress being made by Gambians. Young Gambians are the ones developing this software.
Okay. And when you look at, let me just take you a little back to the Spain agreement, because I would like to clear this thing. I mean, maybe someone watching will be asking, but isn't this a means of Spain having that right now to deport undocumented Gambians in Spain now with this agreement?
I think the two will be treated with different policies. Yeah. The returnees would be handled under the agreement between the Gambia government and the EU, which I'm not competent to discuss. Okay. The Minister of Foreign Affairs would be the best person to explain this. But what I know is the two are not connected. This is, and I emphasize, it's not because we are throwing our people away. It's because Spain has a need, an acute need for labor. Because you know their economy depends very largely on agriculture. So they are looking for labor to support their agricultural production and productivity. We have, you don't want to call this surplus labor. We want to engage all this labor in this country. But as we move towards that possibility, we still have some people we cannot engage as an economy. So we can give those people the opportunity to go and work and earn money whilst this country also develops its economy. I talked about the special economic zone. Yes. The next project, the other one, which is also going to be agriculture based, once the president makes the pronouncement, I'm sure we will come back here to clarify this, to give you and engage Gambians to work with us so that this Trans-Gambia Corridor Special Economic Zone and the other projects all become successful and we are able to realize the objectives that actually underpin them.
I know you did a feasibility study on this special economic zone, which you presented to the president, which he endorsed. I mean, when are you going to start the implementation?
We have started. Okay. Because the start is that we have secured the endorsement of the executive. We went back to work on our roadmap. We have a roadmap already that I'm going to share with him the earliest opportunity. But amongst the activities in that roadmap is sensitization. This morning, the Minister of Information and my information officer, communication officer, have finalized a communication strategy. So I'm sure they will be coming to QTV and other TV networks to engage you on how we will popularize this special economic zone.
And that's the one you're going to use to attract investors to come to the Gambia and invest.
Not only that, part of the roadmap is that we will walk out of this country also and mobilize resources. One way of getting that done is to go to key countries. Some ambassadors have been engaged already, like India. We'll go to India, we'll go to China, we'll go to Turkey, we'll go to Brussels, we'll go to the United States, we'll go to UK. Some of them have already expressed interest to come before we even go to them to sell this, because it's currently in the public domain. This study was sponsored by the African Development Bank, and currently they have the results of the study. They are sharing it with Afrexim Bank is in the picture. All of them are ready to work with the Gambia to realize this big dream of a special economic zone. But you see, the special economic zone, when it comes, I want people, particularly those engineers watching this program, we want you to watch what we are talking about. We are not only talking about a confinement where industries are going to be located. We want to see the development of this CRR, URR, North Bank, LRR, and parts of West Coast. All of them must benefit from this because we want factories to be located all over.
That's why you want to reduce the rural-urban migration?
In fact, we want to reverse it. We want to decongest Congo and get people to move to the provinces because there will be jobs there. So it's both a special economic zone. The zone is located along this Trans-Gambia corridor, but we're also developing a free zone from Bakadaji in URR right up to Buyam. We will locate factories all over those places, and this is why it's important for all of us to have hands on deck and work towards bringing companies into this country to locate and manufacture. We know we have a small market. 3 million people, 3 million consumers may not be attractive. But you see, Gambia has something.
They can export.
Our location is
export.
pivotal, and we want to grow and develop our export. That export strategy that we also want to support is what will bring and generate the revenue for the economy so that we all also become wealthier. Wealth creation will happen in this country because we want to produce and we want to export.
So what are some of the incentives for potential investors who will perhaps want to invest in that special economic
zone?
We
are improving greatly on our energy
because the competition is high.
Yes. And in fact, you are absolutely right bringing this up. You know, there is this review that the World Bank does to look at countries and look at their investment environment. We, at this point, are still not happy with our progress as a country, as a ministry. We want to see a lot more happening. We are currently working on single window business registration. You notice that when companies come in and they are registering, they run around, and sometimes they even get frustrated. They call minister, I'm going to this place, I'm going to that place, because we are scattered, we are all over the place. That cannot continue. Last year, whilst I was in the United Arab Emirates, in a meeting of industry ministers, I met the United Nations Industry Development Organization. And one of the achievements from that meeting was that they got the European Union to sponsor the development of software that will bring all business registrations to one single table, but also online, so that you can be in the United States of America, think of a business concept, develop it into a business, register your business remotely, pay your fees remotely, and get your business running here without having to come to Banjul to run around with papers.
But also many investors, if they will ask you the issue of security, the issue of energy sector. Energy is key.
I mentioned energy.
So
it's work in progress.
Okay.
We know this, and one of the things that the Ministry of Energy is doing, I know, is they are trying to locate in that area, the special economic zone is going to be 3 installations, 50 megawatts each. If I'm getting the terminology wrong, Nani will forgive me. Well, I know it's 150 megawatts that they are putting in the provinces, 50, 50, 50, so that these industrials, somebody will be saying, how can you build factories when you don't have electricity? It's being addressed simultaneously and concurrently, so that by the time these investors come in, that issue of electricity in the locations and throughout the country, for that matter, should have been addressed to a large extent. It's not probably a golden or silver bullet that will fix it, but we know government is putting in effort in this to get it sorted.
Honorable, I'm being told we don't have time, but just finally, your message to the viewers regarding the MOU and any other.
I have said to my people, Aliu, that I am not new to starting things new. And one lesson I've learned from my past is that sometimes you cannot anticipate all the challenges you will encounter along a journey. But it takes courage, it takes determination, it takes collaboration, it takes teamwork to fix them as we go. This is new territory for us, but we are going in, we are bold enough to go. I'm confident I have the team to fix problems as we go. Talk to us, that's the most important thing. If you know anything, let us know. If you suspect anything, let us know, particularly those that will be involved, those who will go. Report what is happening. Silence is not going to solve your problem. Report it. We have mechanisms in place to address the challenges that you are facing in your workplace.
And it's right, as you said, use the official channel first.
Perfect.
Before you resort to social media and trying to make certain allegations we cannot try. Sure. Well, Honorable Minister, thank you so much for coming on the State of Affairs program. Quite appreciated. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program, aired every Tuesday at 9 p.m. and repeated on Sunday at 10 a.m. I was your guest, I was your host, Aliu Ceesay. Do get me next week. Until then, bye-bye from me and the entire production team here.